Welcome back to Dr. Sam in the City. After a rather extended break, please forgive, but some really welcome R&R down in Colombia was had, and I'm back, and back with a bang. The amazing Teresa Tarmey,
Hi.
very respected colleague. We have loads of patients in common, and just a downright good opinion, great friend, and a real pleasure to have you here on the sofa with me today. So we put up a post on Instagram and asked you guys if you had any questions, and guess what? You had loads. So we thought we would kick off with a simple Q&A over 2 videos, in fact, because there were so many questions, lots of great consistent themes. And I just thought we would bat it back and forward, and see how it went. So let's get down to business, shall we? You had a good trip too, didn't you? You were just back from the Maldives, if I believe Instagram.
1 o'clock this morning, hence the puffy, slightly brown face.
Starting off with some ingredients in questions. Dr. Sam 210 asks, using retinol and azelaic acid and vitamin C plus cleansing plus sunscreen, but still breaking out any area of my face, please guide me. So it sounds like you're off to a great start with your routine in that you've got vitamin A derivative in there and some azelaic acid. I suppose for me, I don't know about you, but whenever someone is still actively breaking out, I tend to hold off on the vitamin C. I see that as part of a later stage addition when the breakouts have calmed down, whenever all the comedones or sort of little blocked pores have cleared, and you're into the kind of tone restoration phase to improve the quality of the canvas and get rid of any of the acne marks. So I would suggest that you maybe remove the vitamin C from your routine for now. Focus on getting your retinoid strength up and ensure that you've also got something in there for active inflamed spots as long as you continue to break out, and I find benzoyl peroxide a good addition. So both azelaic acid and your retinoid are good for stopping future breakouts, but maybe add something for acute spots in the here and now. Make sure the rest of your routine is non-comedogenic and see how that goes. And what do you think?
Depends what sunscreen also.
That's true.
Maybe that could be adding to the breakouts, depending on which one it is. It could be clogging the pores.
What's your preferred sunscreen for acne-prone skin? You like Hinuka, don't you?
Yeah.
Great choice.
We've got one from Banter. Best eye creams for 28-year-olds plus. Neostrata one's question mark, but which one to choose? Now, funnily enough,
she says,
I have one right here.
Dipping into her purse.
Which wasn't planned, it's just genuinely what I do use, which is by Neostrata 2, and it's intensifying therapy. There are different ones from Neostrata, but I actually don't necessarily say you have to use different ones for different ages. Intensify cream, lifts and firms. I've got my lid missing because I've just got back on holiday. So
sign of it's being well used. And what actives are in there then?
We've got hyaluronic acid for hydration, caffeine, which is good for depuffing the eyes. Yeah. Maybe not so much on mine today, but what else have we got in there? We have got some good peptides.
Awesome. And not too irritating as well. All sounds quite gentle, which is what you want around the eye area.
Nice and light. You don't want anything too heavy on the eye area.
And a good base under makeup.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice and
how to use vitamin A and C skincare when suffering from rosacea? Should I complement my routine with vitamin E and ferulic acid? That's from Sherry OYC. Thank you for the question. Now, my take on rosacea is that, first of all, control the rosacea. I wouldn't say that either vitamin C, A, or ferulic acid are particularly targeting rosacea per se. You really need to control the problem. If it's just redness, azelaic acid is going to be helpful, and if it's more than that, if you've actually got spots and red bumps and pustules, then I think you probably are better off with a prescription cream, like a topical antibiotic, such as metronidazole, or even one of the newer agents, a drug called Soolantra, which contains ivermectin. So get it under control so that you're not actively breaking out. Oftentimes I will then transition on to using azelaic acid because it helps temper the tendency for that redness and flushiness to get worse. And that's the point where I find that if things are very calm and stability has been kind of placed and you've got regular sunscreen going on, you might then be able to start adding in more anti-aging agents. And I would start first usually with a gentle retinoid, and if that went okay, then I might tentatively try a low strength vitamin C preparation using L-ascorbic acid. But I think actives to treat your rosacea plus proper sunscreen with good UVA protection is the most important thing to do in the first instance. Do you see much rosacea?
Yeah, I do actually. I see a lot of people treating it really wrongly. Some of those products, I have to say, don't make some sense to me because Sam's an amazing dermatologist. But I get a lot of clients coming in wanting to treat rosacea with laser, which is just not really possible. To treat the broken capillaries I can do, but not the rosacea as such when it's actually active and breaking out.
Right.
I feel a lot of people are using oils from a lot of the online content and bloggers, not good for rosacea. What's the best laser treatment for pigmentation on pale skin? So I guess depending on your skin type, where the pigmentations come from, what I mean by that is whether it's hormonal or sun damage pigmentation. I'd first of all say be careful of who you go to and what laser you're going to be actually using or what the therapist is going to be using. There's also other things that's really good for pigmentation, non-laser. There's a lot of effective creams out there. I know you work with Abaji really well. I don't know too much about Abaji. That's more of a dermatologist doctor product. But I recommend and work with one called Cosmolan, which is really good. So you can effectively reduce the pigmentation with the Cosmolan treatment. There's one that you can have in salon and also one that you can do at home, which is really good. I'd actually love to do a video on that with you at some point.
We should do. It's such a common topic.
It's a really good treatment.
Yeah. So I think there's lots of different ways sometimes of reaching the same outcome and different tools.
Maybe just taking your time with it. Laser's more of a quick fix really. You just have to be careful on skin type, what laser you're using.
What do you use? What's your most common in that situation? Fair skin, just some sunspots. What would you tend to use in that instance?
I mean, the type of laser is Alma. I work with Alma lasers.
Yeah.
IPL, use an IPL on pigmentation. But I do it really, really, really slowly, so I don't just blast the pigmentation off the skin. I think it then makes it more sensitized, which is where you might read about pigmentation getting worse from laser. It's how it's done. It's what kind of machine. But I do it really gently. Bring the pigment up to the surface, and just slowly over sessions get rid of it.
I think choosing the right time of year is important, isn't it? I mean, I quite like recommending to patients, do the hard work in terms of the creams, the slow bit over summer, and then perhaps think about laser when the weather gets a little cooler, just because there's less risk of problems in terms of aftercare.
Yeah, but pale skin's great for doing any kind of treatment, so it should be relatively easy.
So, how would you treat mild acne scarring on the cheeks? I alternate between retinol, lactic acid, and azelaic acid in the PM, and always make sure to use high SPF in the morning. And the evenness of the skin seems to be improving. That's from Martis. So I think that it's important, of course, to have your acne under control before you even contemplate doing any treatment for scarring. I think that's really important, definitely. Because I think any procedural treatment for acne with the scarring does tend to potentially rev up your acne. So you must have really good control. And I tend to recommend having kind of really calm skin for a good 6 months after it's been active before contemplating scarring. And the reason for that is, scarring does get better by itself in a lot of instances. As many as 35% of your scars get better by themselves over 3 years. It's a pretty punchy number, I think, for doing absolutely nothing. Then we also know that if you're on prescription retinoids, and probably the gold standard for that is tretinoin for 6 months, you will also get some additional improvement. And I think a lot of my patients are pleasantly surprised by how much improvement they get. Also, in context of clear skin that's getting brighter and more even-toned and more youthful because of all the anti-aging benefits from using anti-acne medications on a long-term basis. So my point to you would be max out your topicals to get as much from them, because there's safe ways to improve your scarring and you'll get nice improvements to your complexion anyway. I would focus more on your retinoid at night, so you're doing it every single night, and use your lactic and your azelaic acid in the morning, when it's fine to do that. It definitely means you'll get more out of your retinoid in terms of improving the texture of your skin. And then once things have been stable and clear and in good shape for 6 months, see where you get to. If you still want to pursue acne scarring treatment, do so with someone who's got lots of experience, and think about laser or think about medical needling. These are the two routes I think make the biggest difference if you've got quite a lot of scarring on the cheeks. Scarring is tricky no matter what you do though, especially if you've got ice pick scarring or box scarring, which tend to be a little more difficult and may require more specialised treatment with either things like filler or even localised TCA, which is a type of acid that can be used to improve scarring in a localised fashion. So lots of different ways of doing it, but really go slow with your treatment, see how much better you can get with least invasive methods possible, and you might be pleasantly surprised. Thoughts? Acne scarring?
Definitely agree with everything you've said, but obviously I'm a different therapist to Sam, so I do work with lasers. And my favourite even for ice pick scarring, actually I'm getting really good results, mine included. Anyone that knows me knows I suffered really badly with acne and I had a lot of acne scarring. It's fractional, so fractional again could be a completely different topic and it's too long to go into. But fractionals basically microneedling with radiofrequency. So it's delivering the radiofrequency into the skin with a stronger microneedling. So it's not a laser, so it's much safer. It can treat all skin types. You've not got to worry about the higher Fitzpatrick's. So that's a really good one. Again, we could talk about that another time. But safe, it's to be done quite slowly. And again, when your skin's a little bit more less active, definitely when it's less active.
Yeah. So I think we will probably talk about that in another video. I think it's a big topic. People want to know more about needling and its role in acne scarring. So let's do that. I hope that answers your question.
I had 2 derma roller sessions, 1 mil and 1.5 mil for forehead, but seems slightly congested still. How do we deal with this? Okay, so I wouldn't say that derma rolling or any microneedling is actually really good. Just going back to what we've been speaking about with active acne, it's not really focusing on the acne. Microneedling is more about anti-aging and scarring, rejuvenating the skin. So I wouldn't really recommend microneedling for acne. It needs to be under control first. I guess any stimulation and treatment on the skin can help, but it could probably make it worse, and you shouldn't really be rolling over any acne.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, it's that. I suppose I can see why people might think that needles might unclog pores, but that's simply not the right route for it. The reason why pores clog up is because sticky skin cells kind of come together and form these annoying little plugs in the hair follicles. And to get rid of comedones, you need to unglue the skin cells, and that happens really predominantly with use of retinoids and also azelaic acid. So I really do think that the right route to get your acne under control is good quality topical treatment, and then you can think about bringing in either a home roller for some improvement in textural change and just a general good skin conditioning treatment. Or if you've got more active scarring, think about an in-office procedure, whether it's fractional or just dermapen, something like that. So I think use the right tool for the right problem.
Yeah, and take out any oil. You might be, I don't know what your skincare routine is, but if you're using any oil, I would first of all take that out.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
That could be clogging the pores.
Cool. Well, I think that's video 1 done. Yeah. A nice breadth of topics covered there. We are going to come back very soon with a second part of this Q&A because you've asked so many great questions and we've just scratched the surface, I think.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Good.
On your sofa.
Bye for now.